Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 4 of the Hubcast. Today, we are going to be discussing the future of DC Comics in video games, a topic that is very near and dear to me as a big DC fan. Um, among other topics we're going to discuss, specifically about DC, will be the what we want in our hopes about our hopes for Batman Arkham Knight or Gotham Knights and the new Suicide Squad game by Rocksteady, as well as any potential or what any hypothetical DC games we want to see in the future. And a little bonus bit at the end, we're talking about a hypothetical Injustice 3. So I am Matteo from the Hub World. Hashtag Restore the Snyderverse.
Hey, I'm Gino, also from the Hub World.
I am Riley from the Hub World, and I'm currently playing a lot of Halo, so I may be a bit distracted, but that's okay.
And I am Jules from the Hub World. Hashtag delete the air cut. JK.
Wow.
Yes. So, I think we said we're going to start off with an icebreaker just to give you a bit of a background on our DC loyalties, because all of us here are pretty big DC fans. We do all read comics. A lot of them being DC comics. So we thought we'd just start off by letting you know who our favorite characters are in DC to give you a sense of what we like. So would somebody like to take it away?
Well, I think, as you guys know, I'm big on all characters in DC. I have so many favorite characters from various parts of the vast DC universe, but my absolute number one favorite character is Nightwing, Dick Grayson, and I've seen this character's grown up with me, and that's why he's so special to me. Like, I remember reading books where he was Robin and watching shows where he was Robin, and then as I grew up, I would see him become Nightwing, and he's he is everything I like about Batman, but also has the hope and optimism of Superman. And to me, like, Nightwing's just a super special character, and he finally has representation in live action with Brenton Thwaites and Titans, and I'm so happy. I really want that Nightwing movie to be made too, but he's my absolute number one pick. So,
Well, I'll follow you because I feel like mine is a direct response to yours. Um, as Mateo is a massive Nightwing fan, I am a massive Red Hood fan. I believe Jason Todd to be the greater Robin. Much like Mateo, the reason I like Red Hood is because while he's similar to Batman, he also doesn't have the flaw that Batman has, which is being tied to his code of no killing. And I like that he's closer to Ra's al Ghul, which is my favorite villain in the DC universe, than Batman is, and he's kind of that happy medium. And just like Mateo said, I really like his representation in the live action Titans show, although they haven't made him Red Hood yet. Curran Walters plays a very great Jason Todd. Like you just can't not hate that kid. He's just an asshole, and I love it.
you cannot say Jason Todd is a better Robin than Dick Grayson. You could say maybe after Robin, he's a good character, but as Robin, he was voted by the fans to die, and that says it all right there. Anyways.
I'm with Matteo on that one. He was not a good
Wow.
Robin.
I think we should have waited for everyone to start like mention their favorites and everything before the
No,
No, we have to
no.
personally
Before the
attack
poop flinging
Giuliano
starts.
for his,
Yeah.
Yeah.
for his opinion
No,
on Red
the
Hood.
Robin
No,
Wars.
that was
begin.
totally gonna be coming, but like just like whatever.
The Robin
Anyway,
Wars
I'm
will play out throughout
Yeah.
the entirety of this.
My favorite Robin was Stephanie Brown. No, JK.
No.
No. I'm gonna step away from the Bat family for this one here because my favorite DC superhero really isn't one or another, but it's just the idea of the Green Lantern Corps. Space cops, magic rings, powered by imagination. Literally anyone and anything can hold one of these green rings if they have the willpower to do so. And it's just such a creative just idea, I find. Just like, okay, you have these aliens and humans running around in outer space solving like basically space crimes. They're cops. Like the Green Lantern that I grew up with as a kid watching the Justice League show originally was John Stewart, and I just love the fact that John Stewart is an architect, someone who is able to construct all of these pristine constructs with his architect's mind, as well as recently reading the New 52 run with Hal Jordan coming back, taking the reins after being dead for so long and kind of serving his penance with the Spectre. It's just been really fun, and like even reading like other stories inside of the Green Lantern verse, like the Larfleeze run, was just absolutely hilarious and just so creative. Just what they can do with the concept of just pure imagination and what imagination is, which is just at the very core of it, just really really fun.
Now, can I psychoanalyze you for a second, Gino?
Yes.
I wonder if part of the reason you like Green Lantern is because you're such a big fan of Lego.
I
And
do. I
They
love
they're
building
just
stuff.
instantaneous Lego.
Yeah.
That's what the Green Lantern ring is.
Hey, and Green Lanterns were definitely OP in the Lego DC games, so like
Yes,
that
they
was
were.
fun.
Yes, they were.
Yeah, that was some good fun, good times. So yeah, that's my little take on it. So yeah,
I don't even
Riley,
know
what
who
about you?
Riley's going to mention, to be honest. I'm very
I
curious.
can think of like 4.
Yeah, but I wonder which one.
Yeah.
Take it away, Riley.
Okay, and as for me, I've always been a pretty big fan of the Batman family. Well, sorry, shouldn't say Batman family. Basically, I like Batman and Alfred, but they're when it comes to DC Comics, the main part of it, I'm a Batman man all the way. The rest of the heroes, like, could take them or leave them. Specifically Superman, who I think is the most overrated hero of all time ever. But I, it's so hard for me to pick a actual favorite because Batman is I don't know, he's too basic a pick, for being honest. And I don't know, as you guys know, I love me some Swamp Thing. That character resonates with me a lot. He's really just a grumpy man who wants to be left alone. People keep dragging him into shit.
He
And
just
the
wants
other,
to protect the green.
yeah, he just wants people to stop killing plants for no reason. Well, and that's the thing. He doesn't care about humans killing, like, he doesn't care about deforestation that much, as long as it's within reason. It's like, he doesn't want the plant to be completely fucked up. Okay, oh,
Yep,
right. Pardon my friend.
that's fine.
Sorry.
That's your
That's
one.
good. You're
We get
allowed.
one. We get one.
But yeah, so I like Swamp Thing. He does very important work, but he just really wants to be left alone. He's a hopeless romantic, which I appreciate. But the other character I really like, I know we're supposed to do one, I want to talk about two, that was Deathstroke. I like Deathstroke. He's like Batman, but he uses guns and is willing to kill people. And I mean, the thing I appreciate about Deathstroke is they always paint him as a villain, but he does have a distinct code of honor, which I like. I like people with that established morality, that sense of honor and duty. Yeah.
Well, I already know that this is a perfect segue into us talking about our first topic, which is what are we hoping for out of Gotham Knights and or the Rocksteady Suicide Squad game. And maybe Riley, you just want to start it up because I feel like you've already.
I want to see Deathstroke in that Suicide Squad game. Right now, the roster is it's a little disappointing to say the least. They're kind of very safe Suicide Squad picks. They're basically just, ooh, these characters are they're hype right now because of the movie and all the things they've been featured in.
I mean, Captain Boomerang and Deadshot have been with the modern Suicide Squad since day one.
And understandable, but
and Harley Quinn.
Cool?
Harley Quinn is the reason why Suicide Squad's popular now, and King Shark is also just like they needed a big character. I find for that game, so King Shark fits that.
Big physically.
But here's my. I feel like, given it's Rocksteady's game, it's their chance to redeem themselves after how badly they used Deathstroke during Arkham Knight. Oh,
Yeah.
so yeah, sorry.
Lost in a
Spoilers,
tank.
potential spoilers ahead for Arkham Knight.
For 5-6-year-old game.
Yeah. Anyway, they had they used WB Montreal did a great job with Deathstroke and Origins, and then Rocksteady had the opportunity to use him again. They're like, "Nah, let's make him terrible."
And put him in a tank.
Yeah, let's
See,
have
I
the,
don't.
arguably one of the greatest like hand-to-hand fighters in the DC universe fight Batman in a tank,
Yeah,
despite
I
him
mean,
saying he wants a rematch. Like,
But
See,
hey,
in an actual fight.
Batmobile had
I-
to fight Deathstroke Mobile.
yeah. I mean, I agree.
Mobile.
I agree that I would have liked to see Deathstroke in Suicide Squad, but see, I disagree with you on that. WB did a good job with Deathstroke in Origins because when I recently replayed Origins, I remember like I've never fully beaten the game either time I played it, but the first time I played it, I remember really liking the Deathstroke boss fight, but I didn't know a lot about Deathstroke. And then now that I've replayed it and redid that boss fight, Deathstroke is barely featured in that game. He's taken down so easily, and it
He's
just
not. I
yes,
think easily is a stretch.
easily
I think
as in
easily was
why
electrocutioner.
easily as in Deathstroke by far is the most deadly of all the assassins that Black Mask hired in that game, and they off him first instead of having him like Batman kind of defeat him and he runs off and then comes back later, and that's what I didn't like. So the reason I would have liked to see Deathstroke in Suicide Squad is because I would have just liked to see Deathstroke actually get the spotlight and be badass like he's supposed to be. And two, I don't have an issue with the characters they chose. I have an issue with the characters they chose considering the story of the game, which is that Brainiac has taken control of the Justice League and the Suicide Squad has to take them down because nobody on that team should be able to take down even the weakest member of the Justice League. And that's where I have an issue where I'm just like, well, Deathstroke is a character that at least makes sense taking down somebody like Superman or Batman,
I mean, he's done
given
things like
some
that in the comics.
circumstance.
I mean, he's never fully beaten, like say Superman, but he's like tricked him.
Yeah, but that's what I mean is like you can
What's
kind
Captain
of
Boomerang gonna do against a Kryptonian?
exactly
Let's be honest.
right. Like what's
Well,
Deadshot?
Kryptonite boomerangs.
Well, this is the thing, though. That game, Suicide Squad game, takes place in the Batman Arkham game universe. Okay? And they were building Deathstroke. Like it was the post credit scene or something in Arkham Origins where
True,
Amanda
but that
Waller
wasn't
comes up and yeah, I know that was for the movie.
No, he's.
But
I
no,
think
that wasn't Rocksteady.
yeah, that was
That was
WB.
WB.
I know, but it's still that game is in the universe though.
True,
Arkham
but
Origins is in the
also
Arkhamverse. But what I'm gonna say is the Suicide Squad has never been as few as 4 characters. I honestly think there's no way there's only 4 characters in that game. I really believe that if that game's going to be a multiplayer game, there has to be more than 4 characters.
as much as I agree conceptually, I can't see the game actually being balanced and created well if they have to balance more than 4 characters. Like I can't see it happening. Like I'd rather them stick to the 4 that they chose. And I just wish that they chose a different 4.
And if this is set
Um,
in the if this is also set as Matteo was saying before in the Arkhamverse, like Titan exists. And we've only seen a taste of like what it could do like at the end of Arkham City and then at the end of Arkham Asylum, where we have Titan Joker running around doing his thing and he's all like roided up on this stuff. But that was like a crude it was a crude formula and then they could go and perfect it and like, okay, here's your Titan
like power
2.0, just say.
Yeah.
And you're now strong enough to take out Superman.
Yeah,
Or
that's fair.
The pill
isn't
from
able
like
to,
Injustice.
do something. I don't know.
And that's fair. I just find that to be a very contrived plot point, and I
it's
wish
lazy.
that they
It's
just
totally lazy.
chose characters that actually would have had a chance. And like, see, the other big issue I have with Suicide Squad being in the Arkhamverse is that when the game's title got leaked, Suicide Squad kills the Justice League. I thought that was an amazing concept for a Suicide Squad game, because I thought the idea of a Suicide Squad game was not interesting to me until they're like, well, you're going to get to kill the Justice League. And I'm like, that's cool. And so the way I thought of it was more of like an Elseworld story where the Justice League goes berserk for whatever reason, this reason being Brainiac, and we're actually going to get to like murder them. And I thought that would have been cool. But the fact that it's set in the Arkhamverse makes me feel like there's no way they're going to actually let us kill them.
Yeah.
And that
They won't
upsets
kill
me.
any of them. No one's gonna die. Not even like.
And also, where's
yeah.
Batman going to be? Because Batman, spoils for Arkham Knight, ain't around after Arkham Knight.
I mean, Batman survived being zapped by Omega beams from Darkseid in.
But I mean, the
Final
post-credits
Crisis
scene in Arkham Knight kind of implies that he's still around.
But no, actually, no. What? Now that I think about it, well, like I agree. Like I don't think he actually died, but the way I was looking at it was like, how are they going to, like, they're going to very messily and very quickly just resolve that storyline so Batman can be in it. But what if Batman isn't one of the people you fight? What if Batman comes out of hiding because of this, and he's actually working with the Suicide Squad?
Yeah, it's kind of like in how Batman kind of teamed up with them in Assault on Arkham.
Yeah,
and like Batman's a playable character, and because Batman, look, remember we all read, what's it called, Tower of Babel, and watched Justice League. Was it Justice League Doom, where Batman's secrets get leaked out, and all the villains take out the members of the Justice League, and Batman's the one that, like, those were his plans. Those were his contingencies.
So that's smart.
I honestly, I want that now. I never even thought of that.
I didn't either till right now.
Yeah.
And know what? I don't think
Batman always carries kryptonite with him.
And I think
he
that could
always has that.
And know what? I think that serves as a way now to fix that issue of like they don't really have a character who's like strong enough to stop the Justice League, but if they had Batman working with them, it would make sense. But I do hope that even if that's a story reason, personally, I hope Batman's not playable, because I think Batman being playable overshadows the point of the game.
Yeah, definitely.
Batman could be the man in the chair. He could be Alfred. Or like, for instance, like I'm gonna chime in here. Like, for instance, bring things kind of back to Gotham Knights. I feel like they didn't say anything about Gotham Knights being in the Arkhamverse, right?
They said it's not in the Arkhamverse.
It's not.
It is not? Okay, I think that
it's highly disappointing.
What should have happened was it should have been the switcheroo. For instance, Suicide Squad kills the Justice League should have been the Elseworld story, as Jules was saying. But Gotham Knights, I feel like, okay, Batman's nowhere to be found, and it's up to the extended Bat family to take care of Gotham, try to figure things out. I feel like that has a better fit in the Arkhamverse. Yeah. But at the same time, I understand why they couldn't just do like, okay, here's Joker, or here's Bane, and here's Freeze and stuff, because like Gotham City, if you think about it in the Arkhamverse, has gone through a lot of shit.
And that's the thing, is like me and Matteo were actually just talking about this the other day. Like guaranteed Gotham Knights started out as a successor to Arkham Knight, because the premise is too similar to the ending of Arkham Knight. But they probably at some point realized, well, if it's a continuation, look at how many things we can't do anymore. Mr. Freeze is dead. Ra's al Ghul's dead. Poison Ivy's dead. Joker's dead. Bane's like brain dead. Like all these characters.
Scarecrow's dead.
Like all these characters are no longer part.
Is Scarecrow dead?
No, he got injected with his fear toxin, and then Batman knocked him out at the very end.
Very afraid.
Oh, okay.
So, but still, like they had done so much with that universe, and they treated Arkham Knight like it was the end, that if they picked up on that, it would inherently limit the game. And without Batman there, they're not really continuing the story in a significant way anyway. So maybe at some point in development, they were just like, let's just drop it. Let's just make it its own thing.
I do think the fact that they don't, well, as far as we know, that Batman isn't actually a part of the game really hinders its, its appeal, at least to me, and I'm assuming to a lot of I don't like to consider myself a casual fan, but I really like Batman. I don't like many of the Robins or Batgirl. So I don't know.
At the same time, if Batman were there, he would
He'd
like
overshadow,
he would
obviously.
overshadow all of them, right?
Yeah, but that's
Overshadow from the shadows.
Let's be real. He's going to be in the game in some capacity.
Yeah.
Just probably not playable.
Yeah. Wasn't like the whole premise of it's like Batman's dead?
yes.
The idea is like, yeah, Batman's dead.
Mhm.
Anyway,
Batman was like reading his will to the Bat family at the beginning of the trailer.
I'm still a little upset over the fact that it wasn't what was originally rumored. What was it? Batman.
It was like
It
a
wasn't
Batman
Court of
Beyond
Owls?
game.
No, not that
would've
one.
been
It was
cool.
the sequel to Batman Origins, but featuring the Court of Owls.
Oh,
I
Yeah.
don't know if that was ever. There was never. I don't think there was ever a rumor about that. There was just because we knew it was WB Montreal, and they were teasing
so
that there was like a
So it was our speculation of it, but anyways, that was
yeah.
way better to me than what we ended up with.
Yeah, and it's weird them doing Court of Owls without Batman, but at the same time, we know through Court of Owls, the Court of Owls actually has a very, very big tie to Dick Grayson,
To
so
Nightwing.
it might actually be a
Mhm.
good story to tell with him, kind of in a lead role.
Yeah.
But
that
they
I
was
could've-
am ready.
that one.
But they
I'm
could have
ready
done-
for Dick
Sorry.
Grayson to be the lead, to have the spotlight, because he's clearly like the number 2 Batman. He's
Sorry.
Batman's protege, so like he's deserving of that.
Matteo. How much
Mhm.
better would it have been if we had gotten a Batman-based Arkham game again, but it was the point where he was training Dick Grayson as Robin, like when he had Robin for the first time, and that's when
would-
they did the Court of Owls stuff.
Yeah,
Is it like
that
they're,
would
like, fighting
that would be
over
really
Robin-
cool.
over Dick Grayson?
Honestly,
But-
and that I would be down for that, because honestly, right now, just in DC in general, since New 52, they haven't really been telling stories where Dick was Robin anymore. Like they're always just thinking about the future. They don't like going back to the past anymore. So I feel like
That would sell books.
it would.
And DC
They need
doesn't
that.
want to make money.
They need that now. But yeah, like I totally agree with you, Riley. I would have been down for that.
So like,
I know
think
Sorry.
I was just gonna say I think that I kind of agree with you guys here, because I think that if this game was going to be a 4-player co-op game, it would make sense to use the Bat family. But if they were going to go with this 2-player co-op concept, it could have easily just been a Batman Robin game, and that itself would have been really cool. I think what they probably had problems with was coming up with a Batman concept that didn't continue the Arkham games, you know?
Mhm.
But they could have said it in the Arkham games.
True. They could
There's-
have. But maybe
'cause
they
I
felt
think there's a-
limited.
Between Arkham Origins and Arkham Asylum, there was like an 8-year gap of him being Batman.
Yeah.
As much as I love the Arkhamverse, I think they kind of just need to let it go and like just go on and do something else. Like, okay, apply the Batman Arkham formula to like a different hero, maybe kind of just changing gears a bit. Like, okay, so we've talked about like what we would like to see in a story, but like if they were to go and make other DC games outside of the Bat family, how do you think that would?
I've
Like, okay,
always
Suicide Squad is a good venture into that because you're kind of stepping away from Batman, but you still have the
But before we
I can't
answer this,
words.
sorry, before we
Familiarity
answer
of
this,
Batman.
are we ready to move on? Because that's the thing.
I
is
just
like
want
this is our
just
next topic.
last my thing is with those 2 games. I have a lot of faith in Rocksteady and a lot of faith in WB Montreal, and those 2 studios, as long as they don't do what Square Enix and Crystal Dynamics did with Avengers for a
There it is.
superhero
They're
co-op
not.
game,
They're not.
and
They already
yeah,
said that.
they're totally fine. Those games will probably be really good.
Yeah, I agree.
So-
And like I think they've set up enough that it makes sense that like I think the big mystery is going to be like who killed Batman. And they've set up enough villains that are tied to each of the different Bat family characters that like there will be personal stories for each of them. Like Court of Owls is going to tie back well to Dick. League of Assassins stuff is going to tie back well to Jason, and they might even bring Damien in to deal with that.
That'd be cool.
And so like I feel like there's going to be all these different personal stories, and the big overarching mystery is going to be like who killed Batman and potentially where is Batman, because I'm sure at some point in the story you're going to find out that he's not dead.
And I
So why
think
is he
that is
hiding?
where my last thing is. I think that's where Tim Drake is gonna come in, because Tim Drake is supposed to be like
Playing the detective angle.
the second best detective. And when Batman disappeared, Tim in the comics, when Batman disappeared, Tim did not believe he was dead, and Tim ended up being right. So I think that's where he's gonna fit into the story. But
Yeah.
I think
if you think about it, like even with Gotham Knights, it's kind of like each of the playable characters represents one piece of what Batman is. Like you have Tim, as you were saying, is the detective. You have Jason Todd, who is kind of like just the brute
The
strength
intimidation.
physicality.
He's the intimidation, like the fear.
Barbara's the smarts.
Yeah, and
I wouldn't even say Barbara's the smart. I would say Barbara's like the empathy, like the capacity to like understand, like the moral part of.
Dick's that
And-
too.
No, Dick is also the leadership, the leadership aspect,
Yeah,
and the acrobatics.
yeah. And
So-
Barbara's also techie.
Yeah,
Mhm.
more gadgets. Yeah.
But yeah, I think we should move on now to
Sure.
Yeah, this is a good movie.
talking
Yeah.
about other characters or other
All right.
hypothetical DC games. that
Well, why
would
don't
like.
we
There
do
was
what
one I
Gino
wanted-
said? Okay, sorry, I was gonna say
Go
why
ahead.
don't we go with Gino's outlet, but sure, Riley, go ahead.
Yeah, because before you're saying you guys know the one that I've always wanted, and it pertains back to one of my favorite characters. I thought it would have been fantastic to have a Deathstroke based game where you fulfill like sort of in the vein of Hitman, where you fulfill contracts. You can go about in various ways.
And that would have
Still
worked so well as a Suicide Squad game too. Like you could have had it be like a
True.
group game. But
Well,
like
the thing with Suicide
like-
Squad is that like Deathstroke is like
Deathstroke's a lot
Sui-
more self-sufficient than a lot of the members
yeah,
of the
the
Suicide
Suicide Squad literally they come out of prison, they do a mission, takes time off their sentence, and then they go back to jail. So, or they die in the mission. But like, I don't think
Yeah.
Deathstroke would have fit in that way. But
Yeah,
True.
usually when
That's-
Deathstroke is part of gets signed up with the Suicide Squad, he's never in prison. He's
yeah,
like
he's
employed.
hired.
Yeah.
So
He's
Well-
an employee. He's just there for his 9 to 5 to get a paycheck.
yeah,
Hey, Deathstroke's just a simple man making his way through the world.
Yep, just like Boba.
Yeah.
I'd like to see any Sony studio take on Green Arrow because we know that they're great with their bow games. I'm joking, like anybody could take it on, but I would love to see a Green Arrow game. I like bow gameplay. Although I do think he's lower on the list of characters who should
Yeah.
get games. I think the two characters that really need games that could be cool would be Flash, which could be really cool if they could figure out how to do something cool with him, or Wonder Woman. Like Wonder Woman could have an open world game that's like an Assassin's Creed like action kind of game. Like
that was
they
my
could do
number
so
one.
much.
That's my number one most wanted DC game. I think we're gonna get a Justice League game eventually, but of like non-Justice League related, I think Wonder Woman is probably the easiest and safest bet. Like
Mhm.
you don't have to worry about
Just set it in ancient times. You could just
Flash. You have to work about like you have to figure out how to make him like slow down almost like. But Superman is super powerful, but Wonder Woman's super powerful as well. But at least like you can do stuff with her sword and shield and lasso, and like you can kind of, and like her whole mythology, like her connection to mythology can be done well, and like that can be an anchor of her story. You can like maybe have it as maybe
Set
it
it in
could
ancient
honestly
Greece?
be it could on no because you could maybe start the game off as Themyscira as young Diana, and then the story can progress as she gets older, and like that could easily work as a trilogy. Like literally do what they did for the Wonder Woman movies, and like as she gets older, she gets more ability. She gets the lasso. She gets her sword and whatever, and then she goes to Man's World. And like I think that would work, but I don't think, or DC hasn't had a precedent of doing that. There's no precedent of doing that with their games. They literally just like insert the game takes place in a random period of the character's history, and then they make the game off that. I feel like,
Is
and
that necessarily bad though? Because then you don't have to do all like the hard work of like doing the setup
yeah,
or
but how do
playing
you?
as like
But the thing
weird
is,
in
how do you
between character.
how do you depower the character? The whole point of a video game is to show like you wanna feel like you're growing in the game and you're getting stronger. But if you're already the character at their peak strength, like
Well,
that's
I think
like I don't
what
know
you
it.
do is you
I
do
have an
something
idea
like
actually that kind of yeah. Sorry, Jules. Go. I'll explain my idea later.
okay. I was gonna say, well, what you could do is like, because like with Batman, like even Arkham Asylum before they had sequels, like the idea is it's kind of a celebration of all of Batman's stuff. Like it's not just one specific story. There's a lot of stories being told at the same time. They kind of like intertwine. And the big thing with Arkham Asylum is like a bunch of the villains team up. So why don't they do the same thing with Wonder Woman? Set it in Themyscira and have it be a bunch of her villains team up and like launch like an assault on Themyscira, and like in the crossfire of the initial assault she loses a lot of her stuff and she has to recollect it, and then you're like walking like the whole like the area, the sandbox world is Themyscira, and there's a bunch of different villains doing a bunch of different stuff. You have Cheetahs running around, Ares is doing stuff, Cersei's doing stuff. um I don't know enough about Wonder Woman to
That's
know her other
basically it.
villains.
That's
I'm sure you can.
basically it.
I'm sure you can bring in other ones,
She has
but
other characters. She's got Gigantia. Like there's other characters, but like those are the big three.
right.
Well, what I was
Honestly,
gonna
oh, go ahead, Gino. I forgot
what
you
I was
had
gonna
something to say.
suggest. Yeah. What I was gonna suggest was let's take this to space. You're a new recruit of the Green Lantern Corps. You have all your powers right away, but you have very little willpower.
Hmm.
So you can go and summon in a giant wall of bricks, but like you'll be tired afterwards, or your ability to like control. Think of it kind of like a magic meter in Zelda, right? You have access to
Yeah.
all your spells and stuff right off the bat. You can be creative with it. You have your constructs, you can build things. You can survive in space a little bit. But because you're a recruit, you're going through the hoops, you're going through the ringers, and as you're going from planet to planet, there are your worlds, right? You can go to Broccoli Green Lantern World, or you can go hang out on the Living Planet, or go see the Guardians at Oa. And as you do your story missions and everything, you get more willpower, or you get more creative, or and things like that. And you can slowly make your magic meter, or your willpower, or your ring, or your battery last longer. So you can go out and do things. Kind of, it would be more kind of like MMO-ish, maybe,
Yeah, like
or
a
kind of like
Yeah.
what
games
they
of
did with
service.
or like a Souls game, right? That would be pretty
Mhm.
cool.
Actually,
I would
I could see that would be pretty cool. Actually.
I
Green
would
Lantern,
want them
like,
to I would want them
yeah.
to give you like a personality quiz or something before the game starts so they can see like kind of like so that
Well, which core to put you in?
the game would know what type of constructs your character would build. I think that would be cool because like you obviously like the thing is like the whole point of Green Lantern, like you said earlier in the podcast, is like it's all about creativity, right? Every
Yeah.
Green Lantern is their own unique person, and like if they're getting punched in the face, what are they going to build to prevent them from getting punched in the face?
You want to use a
So
brick or a
in
giant
this
boxing glove?
in this
Yeah.
idea, are we saying like you make your own character and then you interact with like characters we know, like Hal Jordan
Yeah,
and
you'd interact
Jessica
with Hal, you'd
Cruz?
interact with Kilowog, you'd
I'd
interact with
love that.
Broccoli Green Lantern.
It would be cool if everybody starts off as Green Lantern, but when you get far enough in, you can actually change to one of the other cores, and then it
Pretty
can be
cool.
like
Yeah.
like it almost be like a games as like it'd be like a Destiny sort of like games as service sort of thing, and there could
Yeah,
even
like
be like
the
PvP.
Star Sapphires would have like a different power set versus like the Red Lanterns. The thing is,
Yeah.
though, the only thing is, Orange Lantern wouldn't really work because Larfleeze is the only one.
But you don't have to have access to all of them,
It
right?
could be a raid
yeah.
boss.
That's true.
Yeah,
And
like they can only give you 4, right? Like maybe it can just be because even Star Sapphires might be tricky because they only let females in, right? Am I
I'm not
wrong?
100% sure about that
I'm
anymore.
not too sure, but like the 4 main ones, there's the Green Lanterns. You have to have the red lanterns
green,
and the
yellow,
yellow
red, you could
lanterns
have
and
blue.
blue.
But
So-
wouldn't you?
Blues are really rare, though. A lot of them were wiped out.
Yeah,
You know
I
who
feel
we
like-
wouldn't get as playable? Black Lanterns, which makes me sad.
Yeah.
Just be a
I
zombie.
feel like
there you go.
the safest way to go about it would be, start as Green Lantern, and that's like the neutral, and then there's the option at some point to change to on the like good side, the Star Sapphires or the Blue Lanterns, or on the bad
The
side,
Star
the
Sapphires can do
yellows
some
and the reds.
pretty messed up stuff.
I know they
I
can, but
think
I'm
all
saying
of
like
them
in
Well,
general, like they're not like the Star Sapphires can do messed up stuff, but they're not based off of like a negative trait,
Yeah.
right? Like that's what I'm
The thing is,
saying. And then
love can be misconstrued, right?
I'm not saying that
can
it
be,
can't.
it can
Yeah.
be twisted. To
I'm
left,
not saying I
right?
can't. I'm just saying like for the purpose of like just like giving binaries, like they give you the 2 bad options, which are like the red and the yellow, and they give you the 2 like good options, which are the Star Sapphires and the blues, and then the indigos and the orange and the black and the white make appearances in the story, but they're not like options. Like you can't actually become any of those ones.
Mhm.
I could see an argument to be made to become one of the Indigos, because you could pick one of the quote bad, like you could like veer off into one of the bad ones, and then that's your redemption arc, is to go to the Indigos, and that's how like think about it. Like it's not just gonna be. It's not like it wouldn't be like Mass Effect where you have your Renegade and Paragon, right? Green would be like the
No.
true neutral option. Blue would be like skewed to the good side, but that would be like an extreme, while like Rage would be skewed, or all the like would be skewed all the on the bad side. But I don't know. I'm excited just talking about this kind of
Yeah,
thing.
this
Okay,
could be
you
a
have Green
really cool
Lantern
game.
MMO.
Green Lantern has so much potential. This is a property in general, like for everything.
Yeah,
I had a pretty good one just now. Thought.
yeah.
So we just covered space. Now, I thought it would be pretty interesting to have. This might be a little out there for you guys. I thought it'd be pretty cool to have a like a CRPG sort of Constantine game or Justice League Dark,
Yeah.
Yeah.
an RPG.
like KOTOR or Mass Effect, but based
Mm.
around Constantine or Justice League Dark. If you want to expand that a little bit more.
I think would probably work well with just Constantine.
That's
like
what
that
I was
idea.
thinking too.
Yeah, I
At
think so
least for
too.
like if you do like a first game, you keep it very
Because you
like-
can play him in a lot of different ways.
yeah, like he's
He's pretty fluid morally.
yeah, like he has a very like ambiguous morality. Like he can screw you over, but he does have some, like deep down he has some like moral compass. Like if he see like in other stories like even Justice League Dark Apocalypse War, like Constantine, under like if he doesn't have to help, he won't. But if you can convince him, he will like he'll sacrifice anything to help you. And I think that can be like the morality meter like that they had in, or the dark side light side stuff in KOTOR would work perfectly for Constantine. Like
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. And he could travel to different realms, do his typical dealing with demons and supernatural beings shtick.
Yeah.
Staying on the kind of magic train.
I did have
true.
another idea about the magic train, but you can do yours first.
Okay, I was gonna say a character that would be really fun to have a game to play as would be Shazam.
Yeah, I love
Ooh.
Shazam.
I think Shazam could have a really fun game. I don't know how it would play, and I don't think Shazam should get a game before like Superman. But
No.
I think Shazam, like, I'm just getting like Infamous vibes, like throwing lightning and like um flying around, and yeah, it could be cool.
Yeah,
It'd
you'd
be
be like
cool.
this immature
Superman, to
kid trying to
me,
figure it out his way.
when you mentioned Superman, like Superman, out of all the DC characters, like basically since Superman 64 and how bad that game was, and like aside from movie tie-ins, he hasn't had a game to himself. He's been in other DC games, but he's not had his own. And I think I honestly think developers don't know how to make a Superman game work.
Yeah, I think so
If
too. I
any,
think the flying
like,
mechanic
I don't think it's the
for sure.
flying. I think it's just like I said
He's too
earlier, like
powerful.
he's so powerful. Like, how is the progression and the game gonna work with Superman as the main character?
I don't think it
Unless
would
it's
be
a story
Superman.
of him.
I
Unless
think it
it's
would
a
be
story of
Superboy
him.
better.
Yeah, yeah, but eventually you're gonna have to tell a story where he's he's Superman. Like, I just don't see the only way is you depower him with kryptonite, and like he the game takes place the beginning of the game he gets like kryptonite poisoning from like Lex Luthor or something, and then as the game progresses it wears off, and then that's how you get your abilities back. But
But do
like
you
I
have to depower him? Can't you just power him up throughout the game? Like he starts off as base Superman and gets even more powerful?
but
Well,
base
just
Superman
feed
itself is
into the
insanely
OP.
powerful.
Just feed into it.
I guess because
That'd
I
be
think
cool.
I would rather have like them establish like a threat, like a reason to have the threats be so powerful that he himself needs to get stronger rather than find some reason to depower him. Like I hate depowering in games. Like I think it's silly. And that's part of what I liked about Batman. Like when you start Arkham Asylum, it doesn't feel like Batman's depowered. It feels
No, I guess, yeah.
like he's Batman and he's learning new things. And I know it's very different for Batman because his is all gadget based. But
Mhm. The thing with
one
Superman is that like a lot of his main villains have a upper hand on him. They have the upper hand on him. Like Metallo is he has a
kryptonite.
kryptonite heart, and Lex Luthor uses kryptonite as well, and he's very smart. Doomsday can fight him one against one. He can match Superman's strength, and same thing with
Brainiac's just like crazy.
Darkseid and Brainiac. Mister's
Parasite steals
Mister
his
Bizarro.
power.
Mixio's Pitlick, he's magic, and Superman's also weak against magic. So maybe
Yeah.
he could create like a reality in which Superman, uh, like
Is a bit depowered.
I think he would be the set. Like he would honestly be a really good villain to start a series of Superman games around. I think like
Isn't
he could
he?
create an alternate reality. Huh?
Isn't he like equivalent to Mad Hatter to Batman though? Really?
No,
He's more of a prankster than a villain, though, I would think.
I know, I know he is, but they could take their creative liberties with the story.
Yeah, because
He's like
Scarecrow used
he's
to be
in.
like that for Batman until Nolan,
Mhm.
basically.
Um,
No, I don't know
Mixio's
about that. Scarecrow in the animated series is also pretty creepy.
Yeah, but Mixio's Pitlick is just supposed to be. He's supposed to be goofy, but
Yeah, I mean it's
he
hard to take him
the
seriously.
only thing is with him is the only way to beat him is if you trick him to saying his name spelled backwards,
Yeah.
and then he's done, which I think
Isn't
is
he?
super dumb.
Isn't he the same species as Batmite?
Yeah,
Yeah,
he is.
Yeah.
he's an imp from
Or same
whatever
dimension.
fourth dimension or whatever the heck.
Now, this isn't like a game I want to see, but this is something I think that they should do moving forward.
Is it still magic?
No,
Riley still had a magic
why don't you
trick
say
Okay, then
yours?
I just had a
Yeah,
quick
go ahead.
one. It wouldn't
go
be a
ahead.
full-fledged game. It would be kind of more artsy, but I would like to see almost like a Telltale Sandman game.
Oh, that would be cool.
Yeah,
mean, there's a
given Neil
Netflix
Gaiman's
Sandman
like
thing,
his whole
so that would be
deal is
cool.
he loves narrative,
Yeah,
and
that
I
would be
think
cool.
it'd be really
And
hard to implement Sandman as an actual like full-on game, but a game that's basically just story. I think it could
yeah,
translate pretty well
like
too.
yeah, that would be cool. And like with the
So
Netflix Sandman series on The Verge, like I'm sure Sandman's gonna get a lot more recognition.
Yeah, I mean, and even with that Sandman game, wouldn't have to star Dream. It's like because a lot of the original Sandman run was just like short stories where Dream kind of he joins tangentially at some point in the story, and I think you could do that episodically in like a Telltale kind of game.
So I have two things. So the first is just something I want to see in games moving forward, not a game itself. But because hot take, and you all know this, but the listeners don't. I think that Insomniac's Spider-Man game is much better than the Arkham series.
You're entitled to be wrong.
For a variety of
Yep.
reasons. Now, part of the reason that I think that game is done really well is that I like that you play as Peter Parker, not just Spider-Man. You also get to be Peter Parker, and I think that's a missed opportunity with the Arkham games is you never got to be Bruce Wayne. And I think like if you were going to do a Superman game, it would be cool to have segments where you have to be Clark Kent and
Hey,
like interacted with the world as Clark.
to be fair,
No?
you did get to play as Bruce Wayne during the DLC for Arkham Origins for like
And the
5
very
minutes.
beginning of Arkham City for a
Yep,
very brief
that's
amount of time. But yeah, I get what you mean.
I see that point. Yeah.
You
But
get
in
both
terms,
sides of the character.
right? And I think that would be cool. And like it wouldn't work for
But-
characters like Wonder
and-
Woman doesn't matter, like because like but some characters it would be nice.
But here's the thing about Batman, though. Whereas Peter Parker actually tries to balance his two identities, Batman is more Batman than Bruce Wayne.
Yes, I know he is, but he still
Batman's
uses
alter
Bruce
ego is
Wayne.
Bruce Wayne, not the other way
Yes,
around.
but he still uses Bruce Wayne to further his stuff as Batman, right? Like it would have been cool if, like, for example, to like take down like Scarecrow, he had to go to like a business meeting or like something to get like info. Like it's nice having that duality of the character, regardless of
Mhm.
who they are deep down, you know?
They do that. They do that very well in the Batman Telltale games.
In the Telltale. Exactly. That's what
Yeah.
I was thinking.
But that mechanic would work fantastically for a Flash game, I think.
Yeah.
Because Barry Allen is
Doing, like,
CSI, so like
forensics?
you could
Yeah.
and like you could do that. Like I feel like that would be a really cool element for the Flash. And like
And,
Barry
hey, and
Allen,
when he's in the
he's
lab,
so
there could be,
fast.
like, yeah, he could
right?
like there could be like a mini game section like when he's like doing forensics in the lab and he has to like, okay, you have to shake this beaker a certain number of times or a certain frequency and shit. That'd be great.
And like Barry Allen, like I said, he's so fast. He can. They could potentially see the Flash and Barry Allen in the same place at the same time. So
Yeah. So the other game that I would really like to see is I'd like to see a Teen Titans game.
Ooh,
Good
I
choice.
think in general a Teen Titans game would be really cool. In the vein of like, for example, if Gotham Knights does well, taking that concept and applying it to Teen Titans and
you could
having
do
it
that with
be
Suicide Squad format.
or with Suicide Squad's format where you have 4, so you have Starfire, Raven, Beast Boy, and
Nightwing
and
or Cyborg.
Nightwing. Like you drop Cyborg because Cyborg is more associated with
Well, you can have
Justice
all
League
5.
lately.
Just pick 4.
Yeah, but if they're only going to do 4, I feel like it makes more sense to drop Cyborg because he's not in the Titans show, which is a current Titans storyline, and he's also become more associated with the Justice League, so he would make the most sense to drop. But in terms of functionality, it would actually make more sense to drop either Starfire or Raven because I feel the way they would play would be similar. Like I know their powers are different, but the way in which but like I mean, like if you were gonna say like 4 distinct characters, I feel like the 2 most similar characters in the core Teen Titans are Raven and Starfire. They both shoot some kind of energy out of their hands. They both have some like they both fly. Like
I mean,
in
that's
general.
okay. In general,
I'm
But
general.
Starfire,
that's
Starfire has super strength. Raven doesn't.
and I think that's used. That's saying that Raven just uses like energy manipulation. That's like the most primitive use of her powers. They
No,
could
I
be a
know.
lot more creative with that.
I know.
Raven.
I'm just saying in general.
Raven
like,
can like possess people and
Yeah, I was
and
thinking she'd be like crowd control, like possessing fear, like causing fear, teleportation.
Starfire would be like the Superman of that game, right? Energy blasts and super strength and can fly. and she can like survive in space and stuff too. But honestly, like we need a Justice League game, we need a Superman game. It's just how do they do them?
Yeah.
I
You know
I,
what?
I can I
Just
can
give
I
us.
like
live,
the take from before with the
I can
Mitchell stuff.
I can not take a Superman game. I'd be okay with that.
Yes.
I want to fight.
but-
The thing is, in the hypothetical potential Superman game, they have to reference Superman 64. You need to fight the tornado
No,
at some point as a joke.
no, thank you. No,
It'd be
thank you.
great.
I think
I could take that as a poster showing Superman looking at a tornado, and that's it.
maybe just, I don't know if anybody else has big ideas, but maybe just as a way to close this off. When are we getting
I have
our...
one thing, one
Okay, go ahead.
statement, but
I was gonna say, when are we
but like
getting our Marvel Ultimate Alliance clone with DC characters?
yes,
Or even a Marvel versus DC game. That'd be great.
Yeah, I know. That's something
But
we're gonna get into,
my
I'm sure. When
my last
Yeah.
thing that I wanted to say is that like we're talking about all these characters and stuff, but like there was Easter eggs to a greater DC universe in the Batman Arkham series. Lex Luthor phoned Bruce Wayne. There's posters of like Coast City and Zatanna and Green Arrow, like Queen Industries was like referenced in Arkham Origins. Like there, a
Swamp
greater
Thing
DC
had a
universe
memorial on a bench.
exists, but we're never gonna see that as a connected universe, at least at least connected to the Arkhamverse, which I think is a missed opportunity. But maybe one day
I
we'll get
mean,
that.
A
maybe,
lot of that
but at
stuff was
this,
Riddler stuff. Like
I
you just take a
feel,
picture of it, like, oh,
yeah, and I feel like
here's
it
the
was
Zatanna poster.
more used to like, because like they weren't gonna say like at the end of the day, Batman is connected to the greater DC universe, so it was just references. It's the same way that like the Spider-Man Insomniac games have tons of references. They have Black Panther references, Avengers references, Doctor Strange, right? Like, but that doesn't mean they're ever
Or
going to
character
use those
building's there.
characters. It's just they're acknowledging like this is a Marvel game, so we're going to acknowledge and have Easter eggs toward the greater universe. I don't think it's necessarily a missed opportunity. Um, I think
I
it's good
just
that
like
they
having connected
capitalized on it.
universes. I love having connective universes like they have in the comics. Like I just want that to be copied and pasted to every form of media that DC is a part of.
Well, but then you run to the problem where you get another BVS Justice League
Nope,
situation with the
don't
fourth.
say anything.
Nope,
Okay.
nope. We have the Snyder Cut.
Nope.
It's coming.
I think it's nice in the comics because the stories are smaller, but when you make a video game out of these characters, the games tend to be big and they tend to go all out. Like you're not going to have a Batman story that uses the amount of villains that say Arkham City used. Very rarely do you have a story that's that fucking sorry, that's my F word. That effing
Well,
big,
I
right? And
I
I feel
disagree.
like
They do that quite a bit. Like Long Halloween did that. Hush does
no, I
that.
know long, but that's what I mean.
Nightfall.
It's very rarely. It's rarely like yes, those are notable ones, but that's not all the time. You don't get that every month, every year, right? Like
Yeah.
they're rare stories. So I feel like if you do that, if every single story in the video games, if you have a Superman game and a Wonder Woman game and a Batman game and a Aquaman game and a Flash game, and they're all just giant celebrations of all the villains of everything in that universe, and you want to connect them all, I feel like you have to jump through a lot of hoops to make it work. And I feel like it's limiting to do that. I feel like it's almost better to just be like Superman's game is separate.
I also had
It's
an
its
idea
own
for the
thing.
Superman game that would actually make me interested, and also kind of solve the depowering thing. Because they could always implement Watchmen, have Doctor Manhattan be the one screwing around with reality, depowering Superman. Did it in Doomsday
I,
Clock.
yeah, but I think I don't know if DC's even gonna follow that plot line anymore. Of like, I don't know if a lot of Watchmen fans don't like the fact that Watchmen's been brought into the comic universe.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll
Okay.
see.
I just
Because
want,
like
yeah, like
I'm
I think a
personally
lot
fine
of
with it, but
I mean,
yeah,
I didn't like a lot of the Doomsday Clock I enjoyed overall. I feel like they could have done away with trying to implement so much of Watchmen into the regular DC universe. I think they could have left it at pretty much just Doctor Manhattan. But
mhm.
anyways,
How about unless anybody has any other big ideas, we move on to our final topic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's good.
Okay, so Injustice is a DC fighting game that is bound to get a threequel, considering how well the second game did. And with Mortal Kombat 11 ending its kind of like DLC cycle now, most likely NetherRealms might be moving on to that. So we don't necessarily need to talk about what we want out of the game in terms of story or whatever, but just roster wise. Which
Deathstroke needs to come
characters
back.
need to be in the game, either as Riley said, brought back or newcomers? What are we looking at? What do you think?
Well,
I'd say it's pretty difficult because
the story is an
Yeah.
integral part of this discussion because, like, the reason they didn't bring the characters back in Injustice 2 is because they either were written out or they died in the
But let's
comic or
just-
died in the game.
But let's just say, like, this is just
we
about
also
what
have the
we
Ninja
want.
Turtles, so anything is possible.
Yeah, let's just say this is what we want, not necessarily, and who we think should be in it. Let's not try to come up with why they need to justify it with story right now. I think that's another discussion.
All right. Well, I want characters that I would prioritize characters with diverse move sets. I think would be a good way to start. Like, to me, there's 3 characters I identified at the end of Injustice 2 saying, like, how are these 3 not in Injustice? And the first one, it was Plastic Man. I'm like, there isn't a character that I think, aside from like a potential Lantern or something, that could be as unique as Plastic Man. Plastic Man can turn himself into a plane. He can literally turn himself into anything. And he's funny. He's a very like, he's a golden age comic book character, so he's got a lot of history and a lot of material to pull from. And he was a pretty big part of the Injustice 2 comic. So I think he's one character, like, at least I think we should alternate, but like, he's my number one is Plastic Man. So
But can't Swamp Thing also like turn into things?
I mean,
he
Swamp
could
Thing
take
can like stretch his arms out
Yeah,
like
not
vines,
quite
but
the same.
Plastic Man can, like, to dodge an
to a boat.
attack, he can crouch down into like a puddle. He can stretch his legs up so characters can walk or attack under, like, through him. He can literally open himself up. Like, he can turn into anything. He can do anything. Jules, we watch Flash. You see elongated man, but just imagine that, but better.
Yeah,
That's
that was
Plastic
a
like
Man.
budget that's not
fantastic.
right.
Who was better than
Yeah.
both of them?
Yeah, I mean, I've never been much. I think stretchy characters are dumb, but that's fair. He would offer something that's very different and unique. I can get behind that. Riley or Gino, do you have one?
Well, I already
One
said
that I
Deathstroke,
think
but I'd also
I want
like.
to say for last because it would open up a big can of worms.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, anyways, I already said Deathstroke, but I'd also like them to bring back Raven.
Mm,
Yeah, that'd be pretty
Yep.
cool.
Speaking of Teen Titans, it's a travesty that Beast Boy hasn't been done yet, considering the potential he has.
Yeah,
Is
Beast
Beast Boy dead
Boy.
in the comic?
Yeah, Beast Boy got nuked at the beginning.
got
Like,
nuked.
like
That's
you
very
know, in the
dead.
beginning of Injustice, when the bomb inside, spoilers, inside Lois Lane went off, the Teen Titans reacted to that call, and immediately, like, Kid Flash, Beast Boy, and Tim Drake died, like, right away. And then
like,
it
that's
injured Superboy.
great. And like, that's great and all that. And like, I like how they take. No, but I like how they take risks with the story. But honestly, like, I think if there's one big complaint I had with Injustice 2, other than the gear system, which I still have a big complaint with because I don't like how it aesthetically made the characters look, but it's that I get that you want to tell a good story, but why are you limiting your character choices to keep up with the story? I feel like Injustice 3 needs to be a
I
bit of a
100%
soft
agree.
reboot, just so that they can do
Mhm.
like what they should be doing. Like, keep the story going, use a multiverse like contrived reason to like bring in whoever you need. But like, I think Beast Boy
And they did that with
deserves
Injustice
it.
2 to a degree. They started
degree.
that with Injustice 2. Like they brought Green Arrow back.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I feel the same way. Like there's a bunch of characters in Injustice 1, like Riley said, Deathstroke. Like if they decided they used story reasons to justify the character selection in Injustice 2, but there's characters in Injustice 1 that didn't have story reasons why they weren't in Injustice 2, and Deathstroke is among them. But like Shazam should be like Shazam's bigger now than he's been since the Shazam TV show and when Captain Marvel first came out. Like this is the renaissance of that character. He should be in the game. Like Nightwing, popular character among fans. He should be in the game too. Who cares if he's dead? Like, but anyways, I could stand on a soapbox and talk about that for a long time. But another character, I have a lot of characters I want in Injustice 2 or Injustice 3.
I think we all
But
do.
another part of the roster I think that is lacking is magical characters.
Yes.
And we
Are you gonna say who I want?
maybe Gone, the former man, Rise the Demon, Etrigan!
Oh, I was not gonna say Edrigan.
I want Etrigan the Demon.
I think Edrigan. Yeah,
Etrigan.
he would be cool.
So would Constantine.
But like
that's what I'd want. I want Constantine.
I know. Constantine's the popular choice. Etrigan's my selfish choice. It's like he's one of my favorite obscure DC characters. But like his fighting style would be really cool because like he's short and he's got like a really thick build, kind of like Wolverine, similar build to Wolverine. He's super strong. He's immortal.
Breathes fire.
He's got fire breath. Like,
and he speaks in rhyme.
He's like a grappling. He can be like a grappling character, doing a lot of grabs and shit. Like I think Etrigan would be really cool. And then you can really go like. There's a lot of magic characters in the DC universe that haven't been explored in the main Injustice games yet. Like I think going Justice League Dark could be a direction that they could go in that because they went heavy in Justice League Dark in the comics recently, and with the animated movies. So like, I know I'm sure you guys are gonna talk about Constantine now, but I want Etrigan the Demon.
I have one very similar to you.
Too.
Who would fill the same role basically, except he's outside universe. And I wanted him for Injustice 2, but then he got used for a different game. And you guys know who that is. But I tend to like edgy characters, and I really like Spawn, and I was really hoping he'd be in Injustice 2, but he ended up being part of Mortal Kombat. But
there's a reason they did that, right?
3. Yeah, I know. But
do you know the reason?
Well, I thought it's because they want him to be as violent as possible.
Yeah, they want him to be faithful, basically, and they're like, they would have had to neuter him for Injustice.
Hey,
I still
we didn't get Spawn.
Spawn kicking the crap out of Superman.
Yeah, but right, we didn't get Spawn, but like, who would have thought we would get the TMNT in Injustice 2? Like that. That's pretty.
Turtles.
That's crazy. Like,
cowabunga, dude.
No one expected that. But
you know what I don't want on the roster? More Mortal Kombat characters.
Yes.
Yeah. It's gonna happen though. We're gonna get Noob.
There's gonna be some gameplay innovation in Injustice 3 that they're gonna want to test out, and then they're gonna put an Injustice or a Mortal Kombat character in the game to see how that applies to Mortal Kombat, and then they're gonna use that like the gear system. So
yeah, just like they always put a DC character in Mortal Kombat as well now. So like, one is fine. Just tone down
the DC character in the most recent Mortal Kombat.
Joker.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And they had costumes for a bunch of the others.
Yeah. One of those costumes is a character I'd love to see in Injustice 3.
Who?
Batman Who Laughs. He was a costume for Noob Saibot, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
I think he'd be a good.
DC's really pushing Batman Who Laughs right now. Like Batman Who Laughs, basically fought Wonder Woman, and now is like basically created a new their fight created a new reality, which is being told in the comics right now. Like literally, like a few weeks ago, Future State started, and like that, their Wonder Woman ascended to like super god status and fought Batman Who Laughs, and it was crazy.
Not just regular god, super god.
Yeah, like But yeah,
Two more characters. I have a selfish one. One
Mhm.
is, let's be real, they always overrepresent Batman. Like Scarecrow had no right being in Injustice 2.
yeah,
As
He was
much as
cool though, but yeah.
yeah, as much as I liked him, he had no right being there. So I hope if they're going to lean into Batman again, that they
Oh, I know what's
go and bring in Raish,
Yeah,
because I think
there.
Ra's al Ghul would be cool. Cut Damian Wayne, especially if you bring back Nightwing and Red Hood and Batgirl. Like cut Damian, whatever, I don't care. Bring in Raish. I also think that they should have, whether it be a DLC character or base roster, they should have at least one Watchmen character, probably Rorschach.
they
Yeah.
could even be base now. Like honestly, like you could have a Watchmen character as a base roster character. So
I don't.
like
I think
people would say, oh, because when Injustice 2 came out, Doomsday Clock hadn't come out yet. So, but or DC Rebirth hadn't happened. So now you can, like, if they're technically part of the main universe, they don't have to be like a guest character anymore.
You can
You don't
justify
have,
it.
so
I think is Vertigo is they still have like, or DC has the rights to Vertigo stuff, right? Yes.
yeah,
Mhm.
just
Then
the
I
name
don't know.
Vertigo isn't being used anymore.
I think we always focus too much on Watchmen. I think you know who could have been a really cool character to add in Injustice.
Whomst. OV for
V would be
Vendetta.
cool.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's another good one.
But
For
then
DLC.
people might complain of the game's being too political.
Hey, you know what else they could do?
Probably.
This isn't my third character, but like they could. Honestly want them to tap into Doom Patrol as well. Like Doom Patrol
Robot
technically
Man would
isn't
be
part.
cool.
I wouldn't go Robot Man because there's too many. Like I think there's too many like big characters like Bane or Gorilla Grodd. Like I feel like
Crazy Jane.
Negative Man would be really cool. You could have like like he could just summon the negative spirit out, and like if you damage Negative Man, you deal you like if you fight the spirit, he takes a little bit of damage, but if you fight the body of Negative Man, then like you deal a
Some
lot of
damage?
damage. It could kind of work uh like a character like you guys probably don't know Johnny Thunder. It would work like that, but um I want and the Doom Patrol show is in like it's critically acclaimed, and it's it's good on HBO Max now, and it's getting watched by a lot of people. So Doom Patrol's is a well that I don't even think they even tapped Doom Patrol in the comics. But my last or Gino, do you have do you only
I'm
have one
saving mine
character?
for absolute last because again, I said can of worms.
Is your last character Booster Gold?
Damn it, I've been sussed. No, it
Actually,
was not
no.
Booster. No, it wasn't Booster Gold.
Yeah, Booster Gold is
That'd be
friggin'
crazy.
awesome. He's awesome, and he
He'd
needs
be the
to be in
joke
the game.
character. He would be the
Yeah,
joke character.
he breaks. He. I can see him like functioning similar to the way Firestorm played in Injustice 2. Like he'll be like he's got he basically his only powers are like his suit gives him strength, but his main form of attack are his blasts. Same thing with Firestorm, and like Skeets could be flying around with him and like shit talking him basically and telling him what to do. I think it'd be hilarious. And
I think this would do well.
yeah,
You could take a
and
selfie and like
and Booster
sign
Gold could
autographs.
work because like with the big in the Injustice 2 story, they kind of made Supergirl like Supergirl was kind of the main character, because at least the beginning was told through her point of view, and like she was kind of marketed as that. Booster Gold could potentially be the focal point character in the campaign
The
of this game
marketing.
because of but no, but not just for that, but like the fact that he's a time traveler, right? Time travel could be a big element of the campaign, and that's how they could bring characters back potentially. So I think Booster Gold would be perfect. So
Speaking of time travelers, I think they should add two of DC's most beloved characters, Ava Sharp and Gary Green.
oh,
From
absolutely not. Get out of
DC's
here with your
Legends of Tomorrow.
garbage. Your
Nope, you
garbage
throw that
CW
out.
verse, the original characters.
Um,
Okay, can
but on
I?
a serious note, oh no, go
I
ahead.
want,
Gino.
I
I
want
know
to
what
open
you're
up
gonna
a can of
say,
worms now.
but go ahead.
Genos
I
is
know
the
what
last
you're gonna say.
character.
We mentioned this
Save his for-
before. And because we got the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, they opened up to kind of like a multiverse kind of thing. Injustice
Well, they were
3 could
DLC.
be that DC. Yeah, I know they could, but I really think that if they really want to like kick, like we're talking about like which characters and all that stuff, bring the Marvel universe
I
into
know.
it.
I agree, Gino. I knew
I
you were gonna say
that
that.
would be really cool because
I'll tell you why they won't do it though. Because
licensing
Injustice,
would be a nightmare.
it's not even the
And
licensing. It's about brand. It's about
yeah,
brand portrayal and the way that like Marvel, especially under Disney, is portraying its characters are in a somewhat lighter tone, and Injustice is very dark. Like it's very violent. And I don't think Disney would be down to have like Spider-Man like literally like bleeding out as Superman punches the crap out of him, like in such like a heavy universe. But I'd
I
love
mean,
if they did.
they
this is
toned the
just for the
violence.
for fun though. But like,
I would
but
love
think
it.
about it. The Marvel universe exists within the DC universe multiverse, and same thing going the other way, too,
Mhm.
right? They they did the crossover with Amalgam. That could be the thing. Injustice 3 Amalgam. There you go. And
They've done
you would
crossovers
have
many
like
times.
yeah, and like the crossover thing would be pretty cool. Like it doesn't have to be like the main cast. It doesn't have to be like okay, the Avengers versus the Justice League. Though that would be fucking great. There's my F bomb.
I still do not have one.
Yeah, you got yours, Matteo. Save it for next episode.
No, I don't. I won't do it.
Do
Yeah.
we accumulate them? Like,
I
we
think
save-
it's fine to
supposed to be
say
like
bank
one.
you
I think
can
it's supposed
say
to be like
them.
one per video. As long as
No,
we flag
it's not.
this video
There's
on
no
YouTube
rule.
for like not for children.
Okay, disclaimer
do
to
something.
everybody listening. It doesn't matter if we drop F bombs. What we just don't want to constantly be swearing.
Yeah.
Because we do want to establish that this is a serious podcast. We ain't just truckers. Anyway, I shouldn't be offensive to truckers. Truckers are very kind people. Anyway,
Linda would be
People
very
need to
disappointed
listen to
with
our podcast on the road when they're driving.
mhm.
Anyway,
Um,
back to the amalgam idea. I think that'd be really cool. Or you could even like introduce those amalgam characters as just like some kind of weird Elseworld thing that's kind of like bleeding in to the main Injustice world. I think that would just be really cool.
See, I
Personally.
thought
Like,
you
the
were
reason
gonna
why I
say
wanted to say it is just because it's cool. Like Ninja Turtles, like because no one saw that coming for Injustice 2. I know they're DLC. They're not part of the main story. They're not part of the main shtick of what's going on. It would just be really, really cool to see like, oh, okay, you have like Wolverine fighting Superman.
that would be
Or
cool. See, I thought you were gonna say Larfleeze, but give us Optimus Prime, man.
Optimus
I think
Prime
scale might
is
be a bit of a problem there.
massive. He's massive.
So
I don't know. Shrinking him down to like the size of a person would be really
Maybe
weird.
you can maybe get away with like G1 Bumblebee.
But Bumblebee's still even huge though. Like a person's
I
supposed
thought-
to fit
I
inside
don't-
Bumblebee, like driving a car,
Yeah,
right?
but I thought
When
he's still kind of.
he's
Wouldn't he be
short.
like Bane-sized in
I still
context?
think I don't know. Like
Like when he's transformed?
maybe G1, yeah, but
Yeah.
like I don't know.
oh, you know
Trans-
who? I know.
Who?
DC many a year ago used to do a very famous comic book series. And I think it's time that they bring in Bionicle characters.
Yeah, I thought you're gonna. I
Into
was thinking you're either gonna
Injustice.
say. I was thinking
Okay.
you're either gonna say Cole McGrath from Infamous or Bionicles.
I would love to see a Bionicle just show up.
Yeah,
I'd rather not, but
yeah.
I might be a little
just out of nowhere,
shaking out of
suddenly
place
Tahu
seeing a
appears.
Bionicle
Okay.
in Injustice, but
Okay.
you do
Okay,
you,
so
man.
also in this aside though, like I did kind of say like Marvel, like with a little bit of seriousness, but
No,
it is
I
kinda,
know. I agree.
Yeah.
No, I completely agree with you because that's what I
It
want.
would be
too.
amazing, honestly.
it'd be
That would
such
be
good fan service.
like look at Injustice 1's advertising campaigns. Like, remember those videos where like they had celebrities say, "Pick a side, Batman or Superman, who would win in a fight?" And then the community would be like, there was the voting polls and stuff like, "Oh, who's gonna win in a fight, Shazam or Nightwing or like Bane
Aquaman
versus
v.
Doomsday. Yeah,
Aquaman v.
but like
Warner
Cyborg
Brothers
was
hasn't made
big
Marvel
one.
imagine doing that, but with like who would win, Batman or
Dr.
Captain
Doom or Lex
America,
Luthor.
right? Like yeah, like
Dr. Doom would win, obviously, but
you're pitting two of the two big dogs in the comic book industry against each other. Their most famous characters fighting each other. Like that
It'd
would
be
sell. That would
Would sell
sell like an insane amount of copies of games. Like a lot of people even talk about that now. So like
The problem is ultimately
they'd
let's
have
be
to make
real.
it very casual. They have to make the
If
game
it's gonna be
very
made,
casual.
if it's going to be made, it's not going to be that Disney gives Warner Bros. The license to use the Marvel characters. It's going to be the opposite. It's going to be
Mhm.
Warner Bros. Gives Disney the license to use the DC characters. There's no way Disney is going to give it to Warner Bros.
Yeah.
Warner Brothers already has the license to make some Marvel video games. Look at the Lego Marvel superheroes.
Lego
Warner
is
Bros. made
one
that.
thing. Like
Yeah,
Lego is
Lego's a
literally the
completely
only
different thing.
exception, you know.
Yeah.
But
No. No.
Well, I feel like we've exhausted every possible opportunity for characters.
yeah, I just want to say, I just remembered Static would be cool from Static Shock
Honorable
because
mentions.
he's getting his own movie now,
Fuck.
so that
Oh.
DC's gonna want to push him. And then also, I like, I want them to bring more premium skins.
sorry,
So-
I had a couple before we
Oh,
start
go ahead.
the sides.
Is one of them Granny Goodness?
No, one of them was going to be Blackhand
Very cool.
with
Oh,
Necromancer.
Mr. Miracle and Big Barda. That's
No,
the other ones I want.
Black Hand's like main villain potential too.
No,
That would
be a
oh
great
my
story.
God.
That's how you bring back
Yeah,
all the dead characters.
that's how you bring everybody
Zombie.
back.
Oh my god!
You do Blackest Night. How did we
That's
not think of
Jesus,
this?
cool.
brilliant!
Oh my
Holy
God.
cow.
That's brilliant. That is
Brilliant.
honestly brilliant.
Okay.
That is the best
Blackest
idea.
Night,
Good
that's
job,
how we do
Riley.
this.
Riley, you did
Half
it.
of the universe, half of the DC universe is dead in Injustice. Like
You do it,
so
right.
many characters are gone. That would
I
be
win.
brilliant.
Brilliant.
won.
And Kyle
Podcast.
Rayner could be playable character,
That would be
and he
awesome.
becomes
That's how
he
you can
becomes
get
the White Lantern
Boy.
at the end.
And then
Yeah.
the joke
And
character
Nightwing.
that I kind of want to see was the Brain and Mr. Mala as like a
Mr. Mala,
tag team
The
character.
tag team character. Yeah.
Hey, how about Simon from Young Justice?
Simon may have been in the Injustice comic, and I think he
I
died.
don't remember who
I think he was
Simon
part of the Suicide
The
Squad
guy with the big brain.
is. Oh,
because they had a Suicide Squad like arc of the Injustice 2 comic, and so many characters died in that. Like, it's insane. Like half of the squad died.
I can't
I
get
think
over
Simon
this
was
now.
on it.
It's got to
Yeah.
be someone
Yeah, they
email
gotta
Ed
do
Boon
it.
right now. Blackest Night.
But I don't
Perfect.
think that would be an
Perfect
Injustice
idea.
3
Use
thing.
your-
That would
use
be
your
that would have
Twitter
to be
clout
Injustice
and,
4.
Text Ed Boon.
Why? But they can do it as Injustice 3 because it can be like that's a reason why Regime Superman would team up with the heroes again.
It's to take
Right?
out the
Yeah.
Ed.
To
That's-
take
I
out
guess.
Black Hand.
and wouldn't that be something like that could even involve Darkseid? I feel like everyone suddenly coming back to life would kind of piss him off.
And like Darkseid is like another like a big villain that could be done in Injustice because like, yeah, he was a playable character, but he wasn't in the story at all. He was just
Yeah.
There.
so
Okay.
doing
Well,
Darkseid and like Apocalypse could be a whole game. So
Also,
Well-
sorry, you guys know I didn't play Injustice 2 as much as I played 1. They never did Mongol, did they?
no.
no,
Okay.
Mongol's another like favorite villain of mine. Like there's so many characters. I love DC.
Okay. Well, I am satisfied with the fact that we've just cracked the code for Injustice 3.
Injustice 3. Yep.
Yep.
So,
Ed Boon, you heard it here first. Make it happen.
yeah, we will accept payment directly into the Hub World Bank account to fund more podcasts.
All the stocks. No, to fund our purchasing of all the GameStop stocks.
And all
Yeah.
we ask
You know,
in
don't
return,
date this podcast more than we already are right now.
and
Yeah.
all we ask for in return is that you please make our favorite collective DC character, Felicity Smoke, playable and Injustice.
Nope, we're ending the podcast right
I didn't
now.
even watch
Everyone,
that
thank
show,
you.
and I
Right
don't want to
here.
hear
Thank
anymore
you
about her.
for listening to episode 4 of the Hubcast. like the video, subscribe to our channel. We're gonna post these as frequently as we can. So again,
Stay
thanks
tuned
for
for more.
listening. We'll stay tuned for more. And mark my words, if Felicity is in Injustice 3, I will not buy that game and I will disown DC as a company. Thanks for listening.